Hello and welcome to this edition of the Roadrunners Coaches Corner Volleyball Edition for the NCAA Selection Show, coming to you live from the Tivoli Tap House located on the Auraria campus, the show where we get you caught up on MSU Denver sports. Be sure to join us every Monday from 5:30 to 6 p.m. Come on out and enjoy the food, the atmosphere, the drinks, as we get you caught up on all things MSU Denver athletics. Joining me as usual on the show today is Hector Venegas. To my right, I'm Stephen Priest, and today we will be joined by head coach Jenny Glenn to talk about the RMAC Tournament and what is planned for her team as they look to go to the NCAA Tournament. We will also be joined by senior Brandi Torr, who was recently crowned RMAC Player and Setter of the Year. We'll talk about those awards a little bit and what her mindset is going into the big dance. And finally, we'll be joined by Michaela Smith, senior outside hitter of your Roadrunners squad. She'll talk to us about how the ladies are preparing and what she hopes to get done in the big dance. But before we get to all that, it's time to recap what was in this past weekend of MSU Denver sports. We'll start with some men's basketball as they hosted their home opener this past Sunday against the number 6th ranked team in the nation, Northwest Missouri State, who were led by Zach Schneider, tallying 15 points, all coming from behind the three-point range. Peter Mueller paced the red and blue, scoring 17 points, including some key baskets to help rally the squad from a double-digit deficit in the second half. But the Bearcats hit their free throws down the stretch to edge MSU Denver by a final of 66-64. The women's basketball team battled a couple of foes on the road this past weekend in Portland, Oregon. The Roadrunners first defeated St. Martin's 59-38 on the shoulders of Georgia Ordorf, who dropped in 20 points while grabbing 7 boards. The offense came to life the following night as 4 Roadrunners scored in double figures, leading the squad to a season-high 70 points in the victory. We are now joined by RMAC's Coach of the Year, MSU Denver head coach, Jenny Glenn. Coach, thanks so much for taking out the time, 30 minutes before the selection show. How are you feeling tonight?
It's good. It's good to be here in contention.
Awesome. Well, let's look back on that RMAC tournament a little bit, starting with the semifinals. I remember watching that one. I was at home for that one, and I was on the edge of my seat. Just how you guys battled back, how you rallied, the team never wavered. Talk about the resiliency you guys showed in that match, and as a coach, do you try and teach that, or is that just something that you have it or you don't?
Yeah, we definitely try to build our mental toughness as the year goes on, and we've showed a lot of composure in a lot of different matches. You know, every time we play Regis, it is a little bit of a match that grinds out, you know, and it's a point-for-point battle. There wasn't a lot of momentum shifts in that match. It was just kind of settle in and be ready for the long haul, and, you know, it took 5, but I thought we played nice set in the 5th set to finish it off.
Well, speaking of that 5th set, you do force it, which was incredible a set for your squad. 12 kills, 0 attack errors. Not often we see a team get stronger as the match grows on. Is that something you guys kind of practice, or is it just back to that resiliency?
Yeah, I think Michaela said it best in her post-match interview that there was just a refuse-to-lose mentality. So, you know, when it gets to be the 5th set, the team that has the fewer errors is usually the team that rides the momentum and is able to close it out. So we were able to do that on Friday night. Now,
we mentioned Santasia Sturgis. She had a strong match, recording a season-high 20 kills, which eventually got her named to the RMAC All-Tournament team. Seemed like the stage wasn't too big for the sophomore.
Yeah, she had a great weekend in general. You know, from a defensive standpoint to very efficient offensively, I thought she carried us in some situations and really did a nice job of keeping the ball in play and taking big swings when she had opportunities. So I thought that was a great breakout weekend for her. You know, she's been playing well, I would say, in this latter half of the season, just continuing to get better. So I was pleased to see her get that honor at the end.
Now, the following night, you take on Mines in the RMAC championship game. They really came out starting hot. 519, 423 was their hitting. Was it just them being on point, or was it the defense just lagging a little bit behind that night?
I think it was a little bit of both. Mines played a great match, very efficient volleyball, you know, very good offensive match for them, and we just struggled a little bit defensively early on and weren't able to make the right adjustments and execute them as the match wore on. So, you know, usually we've been able to make those adjustments and kind of keep our composure, and that just wasn't the case for us. So a very uncharacteristic match for us, and definitely use it as a learning tool moving into postseason.
Well, you guys responded in that 3rd set. Looked like things were going to turn around a little bit. You hit 317. Herdeman had 7 kills. At that point, were you starting to kind of breathe easier? It seemed like the team was going to get back on track at that point.
Yeah, you know, anytime it's a good team, really good team on the other side of the net, you're never breathing easy until you're done with the match. But, you know, I thought we did a nice job in the 3rd set, and kind of they finally made some errors, which helped us gain a little bit more momentum. But, you know, going into that 4th, we didn't quite have the edge anymore. We looked a little lethargic going into the fourth set, and that it was just too much of a battle for us that night.
Well, and you mentioned it, the Ore Diggers proved to be too strong that night. They take the fourth set, win the RMAC championship. What was that conversation like with the team after the game? I mean, after the great season you had, obviously that's not the result you wanted, but how do you kind of balance, you know, we had a great season even though it wasn't the desired result?
Yeah, I mean, we can't overlook what we've done in the body of work over the course of months, right. You know, for one night. We can definitely use it as a learning tool moving forward. I think it, in a lot of ways, can be a good lesson for us. You know, we've been getting away with a lot of things, I think, in the last couple weeks. So for us to kind of be challenged in that way, it brought out some weaknesses that we're definitely focusing on in practice the next week.
Now, despite the loss, your season's definitely far from over. We're here for the selection show. You guys are pretty much assured a spot in the NCAA tournament. What do you tell your team after a loss like that? I remember, I think it was either the last show or the show before that, you told us you have a rule where it's 30 minutes after the game, enjoy it, or, you know, kind of mourn the loss a little bit. Is that kind of the same way you went about this one?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's our window of disappointment. And, you know, even in practice today, we talked a little bit about a few things that we can grow from it, because we don't want to miss that opportunity, especially as I've had time to watch film from the match, you know, without the emotional side of it. But it's time to move forward. So, you know, today was very pinpoint practice on the things that we need to get better at that have kind of been festering under the surface all season. So, you know, we can utilize that. You know, I don't want to overreact to a match, but obviously it's not our desire to lose a championship on our home court, but I think we can really propel forward if we handle it the right way.
Now, obviously there's a huge difference between regular season play, RMAC play, but now it's NCAA tournament play. How does that differ from those two separate areas? You
know, there's potential we'll see an RMAC team, so, you know, a team that we know really well, or we could see a Lone Star team or a Heartland team. I think that, you know, it's a great opportunity for us to see someone else across the net. We will at some point throughout the weekend if we continue to win. And, you know, it is time to kind of put all of our hard work out there and go for it. And that's what I want our team to know the most is we're not defending anything or holding on to anything or have a fear of failure or losing, but just to go grab it. You know, it's worked hard up to this point, accomplished a lot this season. We're prepared, you know, and especially after this week and a half of practice, we'll be prepared to go grab a championship, not just hope it happens.
And then, Coach, you have players that have been in this situation before, you know, in the NCAA tournament. How has that helped you, knowing that the players have the experience that they do?
Yeah, well, this program in general has a winning tradition, you know, so we have that expectation to win. So, you know, they've kind of not been able to get past that first round the last couple of years, so we're not even looking at that. We want a regional championship, so our goals are set big, and we just have to take care of one match at a time, and it's just another game. It really is, you know, as long as you approach it that way, and we play every game to win it, so that's how we'll play next week.
And then, Coach, last question, how much are you hoping for that you see an RMAC team or that you don't see an RMAC team in the first round?
You know, there's positive and negative to both. The RMAC teams we definitely know well, but they also know us, you know. Our Regis would be the fourth time we've played them, you know, so maybe not them. I'd be okay with that. But it would be nice to see someone else across the net from us, but I think there's pros and cons to both sides of it. I think we just want to know at this point who we're going to play, and then we can start preparing for them.
Well, Coach, it was a bittersweet ending, but we're glad that you still have some season to go for. We're extremely excited that you guys are going to make a run in the NCAA tournament. We're excited to watch and can't wait till this selection show gets going. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Coach.
All right, we got to keep it going on this volleyball-filled edition of the Roadrunners Coaches Corner. Up next, we'll talk with setter and player of the year in the RMAC, Brandi Torr. You don't want to miss that.
I pledge.
I pledge.
I pledge.
To identify situations in which sexual assault may occur.
To recognize that non-consensual sex is sexual assault.
I pledge.
I pledge. To create an environment in which sexual assault is unacceptable and survivors are supported.
To intervene in situations where consent has not or cannot be given.
Hi, I'm Tyrone Braxton. I won 2 Super Bowl rings and was an all-pro safety. But I wanted to do more with my life. I knew I wanted to help people, and MSU Denver helped me figure out my next steps. As a case manager at the Mental Health Center Denver, I'm helping people re-enter society. And this is so much better than those 2 Super Bowl rings. I reinvented myself at MSU Denver.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Met Radio on mymetmedia.com.
I'm Lexi Marr, senior defender for the Roadrunners women's soccer team.
These teams looking for offense, and there's Marr, the all-conference defender.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
I'm Anthony Grant, Director of Athletics at MSU Denver.
It's because of your generosity and support that our athletic programs have been able to achieve sustained success and continue to be one of the top athletic departments in the nation.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
So glad you could join us here on the Roadrunners Coaches Corner. Thanks for coming back. Remember to keep up with the volleyball team in the NCAA Tournament and all of MSU Denver sports at roadrunnersathletics.com. Joining us now on the show for the second time is setter and player of the year in the RMAC, Brandi Torr. Brandi, how's it going tonight?
Good. How are you guys?
Awesome. Doing good. How did you find out that you were named Player of the Year, Setter of the Year? Where were you at, and when did you first hear it?
I was actually doing some homework at school. One of my teammates just texted it in the group me and found out that Jenny was the Coach of the Year and that I got that award too. So, but I found out from one of my teammates.
Yeah, you guys cleaned up at the RMAC Awards. Now, when you started this year back in August, was it a goal of yours? I mean, obviously you don't set out, and maybe you do, to win these awards, but you want to be the best you can be. What was the goal or the mindset coming into this year?
Well, my goal was just to be the best I could be so I could put my team in a good position, and, you know, hard work, I guess that's what comes of it, and I couldn't have done it without any of those girls.
Now, we've talked with many of your teammates, Smith and Herdeman and all these ladies, and they always mention Brandi always sets us up perfectly. Every time we're out there, that's how we get to do what we do. What's it like for you to play with those weapons out there that you have?
Well, they get me kills. They're all great weapons out there. I mean, I can set anybody and have confidence in all of them, and for a setter, that's so awesome.
Now, how tough of a pill was it to swallow not being able to come away with the RMAC championship and watching Mines kind of take that award?
Oh, that was horrible, but I mean, it was definitely tough. I mean, you never want to lose a game on your home court, especially in a championship. And Mines is, of course, our rival, so we knew they were going to bring it. And I mean, they played awesome, and I wish we could have executed a little bit more, but it's definitely a learning experience, and we have to move on.
And then speaking of Mines, there's a good chance you might play them in the NCAA Tournament.
Right.
Do you hope you play them and get the rematch, or do you just want to see other teams?
I mean, you always hope you want to get that win back from them. We're constantly battling, especially in conference, but if we play them, then great. I'm excited to play them, and if we don't, then that's all right with me too.
And then you've played in the NCAA Tournament every year since you played here at MSU Denver. What's it like from playing in the tournament as a freshman to now playing in the tournament as a senior?
Well, playing my freshman year, it was a new thing for me. You always want to go far, and the seniors were definitely leading me this year, so it's different that I'm the senior now leading my team, and I'm just as excited. I mean, going to the NCAA Tournament for a team is great. I'm so happy our season isn't over, and to go every year that I've been here is so awesome.
And just like you, a lot of your teammates have been in the tournament every year too. How does that change in the season from chemistry-wise to now being in the NCAA Tournament?
Well, nothing changes chemistry-wise. I mean, we're still working towards the same goal that we've had since August, and we're just taking little baby steps to get there, and now that it's here, we're ready to go.
Now, this being that it's your last year, I was thinking about it the other night because I was calling the championship game. I was like, wow, this is probably the last game on this floor for some of these ladies, and I started covering it when it was Quijano's last year. So that's when like Savannah Garcia and those ladies were out there. Talk about what that moment kind of was for you. Maybe did that ever hit you during that match?
Yeah, I definitely knew it was my last time on that court, but I mean, nothing changed. I still gave it all I had, and of course all the other girls that also played their last match on that floor. I mean, we still had practice, so it's not really our last time.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it hit me, and it was exciting, and it wasn't what I wanted. I didn't want to lose, but that's all right. I still thought I gave it all I had, you know, all the 4 years I had on that floor.
Now, you and Michaela have been together pretty much throughout the entirety of your guys' careers.
Yep.
Talk about how much fun you guys had playing together and what you're going to do in the NCAA tournament to kind of extend it as much as you can.
Well, I think this year we've definitely clicked a lot more than we have in the past just because of our experience playing together, and so that makes it really enjoyable to playing with her. We're ready to go and kill it in the NCAA tournament too and just be leaders for our team.
Now, last question for you. Talk about what Coach Glenn has meant to this program this season. She really didn't miss a beat at all with Coach Hendricks retiring. Just talk about what she meant to you guys for this being your last year.
Well, I was always excited having a new coach. From the beginning, I was excited about Coach Glenn and what she was going to do for this program. And so far, I think she's been an amazing coach to us. She's been great, and she's pushed us in so many different ways. And it's just been such an amazing change that she's brought to the program. And I think carrying on, she's going to make this program great.
Well, Brandi, thanks so much for taking out the time. We hope you guys get a great spot in the NCAA tournament. Go enjoy it with your team.
Thank you.
Of course. We'll head to one more break here on the Roadrunners Coaches Corner. When we come back, we'll be joined by senior outside hitter Michaela Smith. She's going to tell us what it's like to play in the big dance every year since you've been here at MSU Denver. You don't want to miss that next.
Dobinson stops on a dime, now to Cortez. The Cortez beating, and count the bucket, and a foul.
If you can't get enough of MSU Denver sports, then you need to tune in to the Roadrunner Review. Get into the game with exclusive highlights, interviews, player stories, and of course the top plays that will have you jumping out of your seat. You can catch all the action on Comcast CET and at roadrunnersathletics.com.
Hey, nice job, great spot!
I'm Joe Rice. I'm the Director of Government Relations for Lockheed Martin Space Systems. I transferred into MSU Denver while I was in the Colorado National Guard and after I completed my associate's degree. This was the only university where somebody actually sat down with me and helped me plan out my academic path to finish my degree and graduate on time. Reach for the stars, come to MSU Denver, launch your career.
Brought to you by your #1 volume Nissan dealer, Tynan's Nissan. Come in today and choose from nearly 1,200 new Nissans. Get 0% for 72 months with no payments for 90 days. During the Bottom Line event, lease the new Altima for only $149 per month. Gives you both efficiency and performance. Looking for an SUV? Then choose the all-wheel drive Rogue at just $159 per month. Also available with optional third-row seats. Bottom Line savings at Tynan's Nissan in Aurora and Fort Collins.
I'm Michaela Smith, senior outside hitter for the Roadrunner volleyball team.
All-American. There's Michaela Smith coming up with the solo block.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
I'm Chris Davis from the Roadrunner cross country team, and you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
Back here live at the Tivoli Tap House for the all-volleyball edition of the Roadrunners Coaches Corner. We're now joined by one of the MSU Denver volleyball all-time great players, Michaela Smith, senior outside hitter. Michaela, how's it going tonight?
It's going pretty well. How about you?
Not too bad. You've been, well, first, before we get to that, how exciting is it to watch these selection shows? You've done it every year now since you've been here.
Yes.
How cool is it to see your guys' name coming up on the screen?
You know, sometimes like you take it for granted and expect that, not really expect that you're going to go to regionals,
right.
But when you do it every year, as a freshman, you don't understand how hard it is to really work for that. And now that I'm a fifth-year senior and I've made like friends throughout the conference, or my sister playing in the conference, like I really appreciate how awesome it is that we've been able to go the last 17 years.
Now you've been in the big dance every season since you've been in the red and blue. What's it like playing in the NCAA tournament as a player?
You try to just make it like every other match, because if you make it out to be too much, then you end up crashing and burning and not making it past the first round. But it is pretty exciting. It's a lot more official. You have like people monitoring your practices. Like right now we get to go to Angelo and play in their gym, which is a cool gym, and it's not something we get to do preseason or within conference, so it's exciting in different little aspects.
Now there must have been nerves for you as a freshman, then you progress as a sophomore. Each time you get there, do the nerves kind of temper down a little bit, or is it still just there?
It's not as much nerves as it is like anxiety.
Okay.
Not in a bad way, but it's just like you're ready to go. So like on game days, you have your practice, your meal, then you sit around getting ready, and then you have your hour warm up. And honestly, like the second I open my eyes on game day, I'm like, let's go. So having to wait till like 5 or 7,
right.
It's like frustrating because you just like you're like, let me at him.
Now we've had Coach Glenn on the show already, and Brandi. We talked to them about who they would rather see an RMAC team or not. Do you have a preference, or are you kind of hoping that your first round is in an RMAC team?
You know, at this point we don't have control over it, and if we're gonna win a regional championship, we have to beat whoever we're matched up against.
Right.
So whether it's RMAC or not, we just have to take it the same way.
Now, if it comes up to being an RMAC team, is it kind of hoping that Mines is that squad that gets selected?
You know, yes and no. They're a rival. Rivals
Right.
are fun to play. And of course, they're like, that loss is still burning.
Right. How much does that motivate you to get back out onto the court and just kind of get that loss out of your mouth?
It's when we lost, like the first thing we wanted to do was practice. Like, of course, we enjoyed our day off on Sunday, but I was ready to practice.
Right.
The thing that's really motivating is winning a regional championship. That's what like motivates us the most.
If it does end up being Colorado Mines, how prepared do you feel for that game? That you played them, how many times? 3 times this year?
It will be the 3rd, yes. I think we're prepared, but there's always more we can do. We'll have another week of practice, watch some film, treat it like any other match.
And then earlier in the year, you reached the 1,000 kill mark in your MSU Denver career. Only 12 Roadrunners are ahead of you. When you hear that you're in the history books of MSU Denver, how does that make you feel?
Means I must have a pretty good setter, who's also like one of the top setters of all time. So
we'll talk about Brandi a little bit and what she's done. I mean, obviously you guys probably don't set out to win these type of awards, but for her to get setter of the year and then player of the year, we've talked to you and Herdeman and Fiatoa, and you guys always talk about she always just sets us up so perfectly. Talk about what it was like playing with her throughout your career.
It was so much fun. A hitter and a setter have like a special bond because I really can't do anything without her.
Mm-hmm.
And then without me, she also can't do anything because if we're not putting balls away, then
Right.
she doesn't look as good. And if she's not giving us good balls, we don't look as good. But I mean, defense, of course, comes into play too because I know that like offense gets most of the glory because we're the ones with the big kills that make it look all fun. But the defense really has our backs a lot of the time too with like amazing ups that a lot of the time the crowd can't appreciate or even like awards don't appreciate, but I think our defense has done an amazing job this year.
Now, Coach Glenn coming in, this is her first year. I'd say she did a pretty good job winning RMAC Coach of the Year and all that stuff. How did she, and we've asked you guys this, all of you, a million times, but how has she come in and changed the dynamic? Obviously, when you lose Coach Hendricks, she built an amazing foundation, and you were able to be with her too as well. What has Jenny Glenn done to kind of change things or maybe just build on top of what Hendricks did?
She's very, very similar to Coach Hendricks, so it wasn't like a complete 180 for us.
Right.
It was almost just like a rewind with a fresh start because Jenny came in with fresh eyes and got on us a lot more and didn't know us as well. So she could kind of push us more. Of course, Coach Hendricks was a great coach, but it was really nice to have someone come in with such a similar coaching style because it wasn't as much of an adjustment for us.
Now on these trips, obviously you guys got to go to Texas.
Yes.
How much fun is it to kind of road trip? Obviously you guys do this a lot during the season, but is it a little bit more fun? Will you try and enjoy this one a little bit more than the previous one since it might be the last?
It will not be the last, but yes, I will enjoy it. I'll miss these girls like more than anything. This has been an amazing team to play on, and I wouldn't want any other group being my last team. So I'll enjoy this one, and I'll enjoy our last trip to Sioux Falls.
Now, looking back on your career, what are you most proud of? What are you gonna look back on, and that's the moment, or just what are you gonna miss most?
I'm gonna miss the competition, like coming in every day, like competing against each other, competing within myself. There's not another time in my life that I'll have as much competition like you do in a college sport.
Well, Michaela, we appreciate the time tonight. We'll release you so you can go get ready for this NCAA selection show. Best of luck with that, and we'll be watching you guys in the tournament. We can't wait to see what you do.
Thanks, guys.
Of course. Now it's time to look at what is coming up next. Obviously, the volleyball team's got the big dance, but what other events are happening for MSU Denver Sports. Let's check it out. Head coach Derek Clark and his men will be right here in the Mile High City for a couple of games. First, they will host Davis and Elkins at the Auraria Event Center on Friday night at 7 p.m. Then, the following night, the team will tip off at 7 p.m. against Bloomfield, so come on out and support the men's team as they look to rebound off that tough loss this past weekend. And if you can't make it out, maybe you're on the road with family during the Thanksgiving break, but hey, that's no problem. You can tune in on the Metro State Broadcast Network to catch all the high-flying Roadrunner action live on roadrunnersathletics.com, or look for it on Met Radio at mymetmedia.com/listen. The women's are also in action, but are on the road in Fairbanks, Alaska, and will take on 3 opponents in 3 days. It will be their last non-conference opponents before they open up RMAC play in 2 weeks. So much fun to talk all volleyball on this show. They're reaching their goal of making it to the NCAA tournament. Obviously, the season didn't end as they would hope, but they're still the RMAC regular season champs. They still got great awards. Coach Glenn being Coach of the Year, Brandi Torr being Player and Setter of the Year. Had some all RMAC tournament team players as well. So we wish the Red and Blue best of luck as they make a run to the national championship. For Hector Venegas, Eric Lansing, and all the coaches and players that came on today, I'm Stephen Priest. We want to thank you for joining us here on the Roadrunners Coaches Corner, and happy Thanksgiving.
I pledge.
I pledge.
I pledge.
To identify situations in which sexual assault may occur.
To recognize that non-consensual sex is sexual assault.
I pledge.
I pledge. To create an environment in which sexual assault is unacceptable and survivors are supported.
To intervene in situations where consent has not or cannot be given.
Hi, I'm Tyrone Braxton. I won 2 Super Bowl rings and was an all-pro safety. But I wanted to do more with my life. I knew I wanted to help people, and MSU Denver helped me figure out my next steps. As a case manager at the Mental Health Center Denver, I'm helping people re-enter society. And this is so much better than those 2 Super Bowl rings. I reinvented myself at MSU Denver.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Met Radio on mymetmedia.com. I'm Lexi Marr, senior defender for the Roadrunners women's soccer team.
These teams looking for offense, and there's Marr, the all-conference defender.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
I'm Anthony Grant, Director of Athletics at MSU Denver.
It's because of your generosity and support that our athletic programs have been able to achieve sustained success and continue to be one of the top athletic departments in the nation.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.